everyone, thank you for joining me today on YouTube, my technically first YouTube video. So this is a little bit different for me, but I'm really excited. Today we'll be doing a sequence on backbending, one of my favorite ever topics, super interesting, really fun. In terms of props today, you won't really need much if you have a pair of blocks. Those will definitely be helpful. Sometimes I like to use a bolster, a blanket, but if you don't have any props at all, certainly don't worry about it. We can always make do without. So first I'm going to start off with a little bit of an anatomy lesson. If you're not a super duper fan of anatomy, not really interested, you can definitely skip over this part, but I'm a little bit of a nerd when it comes to anatomy. So I'm going to go over the parts of the spine just a little bit to give us a little bit more of an understanding of what's going to happen throughout this practice. So I'll turn around here. First off, we have the cervical spine, or the neck. It's actually very flexible, however, it's really easy to damage it and hurt it. So we have to be really careful when we're doing back bends not to overextend or overflex. If you've ever woken up in the morning feeling a little kink in your neck, you know how sensitive it could be. So then we have the upper back, or the lumbar spine. So that includes the shoulders, the upper ribs here. Very strong part of the back. It basically holds up the shoulders and the arms, and that's where most of our back bending is going to come into. Then we have our thoracic spine, which is kind of the lumbar spine, which is kind of the middle back here. Very strong. It basically holds up the whole trunk. A little bit of back bending goes into here, but it's kind of a little bit close to the low back, so we want to be careful. We have the low back here, which is probably the most bendy, the most flexible, but also the easiest to injure because of how it's already pretty extended. And then we go all the way down to the sacrum, which is pretty much right in here in the low back. That includes fused vertebrae, so it doesn't move that much. It has a teeny tiny bit of movement, but not that much. And if you've ever injured your sacrum, you know how difficult it can be to do everyday movements such as even walking or sitting. So that's a really important spot to keep track of, even if we don't think it really does anything. I'm also going to go over the hips a little bit. Basically, our hips help us to stand upright. So even though they're not really part of the spine, they're really important in helping us keeping the trunk, the shoulders, the head all upright. With that said, let's move on to the actual asana, or physical practice. So if you have blocks here, I recommend using blocks. You can also use a pillow underneath the shoulders if you'd like here, or just lay flat on your back in Shavasana or constructive rest. So we're going to take one block to the back of the mat, one block to the middle. I recommend doing it on the lowest height for now. We're going to move up progressively. So come down onto our backs. You want this block to come right underneath the shoulder blades, so you can kind of feel the shoulder blades wrapping around the block. And then the top one is to rest your head. So we'll come down here. Maybe wiggle around a little bit, find the perfect spot. Make sure nothing hurts or feels super uncomfortable. And then legs can be bent or straight. So we're going to let gravity do the work here. Let the shoulders sink down towards the mat, opening up the chest. Let the head be heavy on the block. Arms are heavy. Legs are relaxed, and you should feel the backs of the hips and the sacrum resting down into the mat. And maybe close your eyes here, deepen the breathing. And you're absolutely welcome to stay here, or if you have a little bit more room, a little bit more flexibility in the back as we go through, you can raise this block to the middle height, and again come slowly down onto it, right underneath the shoulder blades. And then rest your head. Make sure there's not a lot of tension in the neck here. And relax the shoulders. This might feel a little bit uncomfortable, a little bit tight, but again, make sure it doesn't hurt. And see if you can deepen the breathing even more. I recommend staying here for a few breaths. I'm not going to move any higher up with the block, especially now when we're just starting to warm up. And then slowly press the upper arms down into the mat. Tuck the chin slightly. And slowly come on up. Move the blocks aside. And then come on down to your backs into constructive rest. Let the spine lengthen down onto the mat now. Maybe you can still feel the bending in some parts of the spine. Deepen the breathing. And then bring the arms down long onto the mat. Really reach the fingers forward as if you were going to touch the toes, palms facing down. Walk the feet a little bit closer into the sacrum. And then on an inhale, lift the hips for a small bridge pose. And exhale, release. We'll go through some of these dynamic bridge poses following our breath. So on an inhale, lift the hips. And exhale, slowly lower down, going as high as feels comfortable right now. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale up. Exhale, release, following the breath all the way through. Inhale. Exhale. Up. And down. A few more rounds of these. And then slowly release all the way down. Relax the arms, relax the legs. Unwind the spine once again. And then slowly roll over to one side. Press yourselves up. Coming on into a tabletop position on all fours. Line up the wrists underneath the shoulders, the knees underneath the hips here. Press the tops of the feet down into the mat. Really nice neutral spine here. As you can see, I'm not dipping into the low back. I'm not rounding into the top of the spine. Really nice and neutral, including the neck. Bring the left leg back behind you. Open up the left leg here. Really reach through that heel. Nice little stretch here to begin with. And then on an inhale, lift to hip height. Toes pointing down towards the mat. If you'd like to here, lift the right arm, pressing into the left arm for spinal balance. Breathe deeply and evenly here. Reach through the fingers while reaching through the heel. Now bend the left leg. Reach back with the right hand. If you can grab the foot. Press the foot into the hand, hand into the foot. If you can't grab the foot, just reach those fingers back towards the foot, opening up the right side of the shoulder for a tiger pose. Take an inhale. Exhale, release into spinal balance. And back to tabletop. Wiggle out the hips if you need to. Come back to your neutral spine. Bring the right leg back behind you. Again, opening up the back of the leg. Might really feel nice in the calf and the hamstrings. Inhale, lift to hip height. Toes pointing down. Hip points pointing down. Left arm up. Pin that belly button in towards the spine so that you're supporting the low back here. Steady gaze forward. Bend the right leg. Reach back. And again, if you can't grab the foot, just reach with the fingers. Take an inhale. Exhale, release. Lower everything back down. And come back into a child's pose. Any version of the pose that you'd like to. Just release. Steady the breathing. Bring the hands underneath the shoulders. Press back up and come down onto your bellies here. Legs lengthen behind you, reaching those toes back. Press the tops of the feet down into the mat. And then bring the arms down long by your sides, palms facing down. Already start to slide the shoulder blades down the back, reaching those fingers back towards the toes. On an inhale, lift the legs, shoulders, arms for Shalabhasana or locust pose. Reach for those toes, slide the shoulder blades down the back. Inhale, exhale, release. Inhale, come up for Shalabhasana. Exhale, down. Inhale up one more time. And exhale, release. Bring the arms down by the low ribs here, tucking your thumbs into the low ribs. Pin the elbows in, slide the shoulder blades down the back. Inhale, coming up for low cobra. Press down with the tops of the feet. Exhale, down. Inhale up for low cobra. Exhale, down. Inhale up. Slight tuck of the chin here to keep the neck long. Exhale, down. Inhale up. Exhale, release. And one more time. Inhale up. Maybe floating the palms up off the mat. Bringing the back bend just to the back, not using the arms. Inhale. Exhale, release. Maybe wiggle out the hips a little bit here. Let the legs relax. Now, bring the hands back down by the low ribs. Pin those elbows in. Come up for low cobra. Stay here or lengthen the arms. Press down into the feet, lift the legs for upward facing dog. Slide those shoulder blades down, let the hips drop. Take an inhale. Exhale, tuck the toes. Downward facing dog. Let the spine lengthen out here. Maybe pedal out the feet a bit. Keep the knees as bent as you need to. an inhale, gaze forward, slight bend to the knees. And exhale to walk the feet forward, folding over the legs. Hands coming to blocks, mat, chins, whatever they can reach. Let the upper spine round and release. Let the head and neck be heavy. And on an inhale, press down into the feet, lift the arms up, Urdhva Hastasana, reach through those fingers. And exhale, release. So we're going to go through a couple rounds of sun salutations. The first is just a classic Surya Namaskar A. The second round is going to be a little bit different. Modify how you'd like. You can do modified plank and chaturanga, low cobra or up dog. Whatever your body is telling you to do right now. I'm going to demo the kind of more level 2 version of the sun salutation. So we'll start in our Tadasana, nice and balanced, standing up nice and tall, relax the shoulders. Inhale, lift the arms up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, fold with a long spine, hands coming down. Inhale, soften the knees, gaze forward. Exhale, step back to plank. Take an inhale to gaze forward. Exhale, pin the elbows in, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, low cobra or up dog. And exhale to down dog. Taking a few breaths here. Spread the fingers, spread the toes. Spinning the biceps in towards the ears. Take an inhale, soften the knees, gaze forward. Exhale, walk the feet in between the hands. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, sweep the arms up, Urdhva Hastasana, reach through the fingers. Exhale to your mountain pose. Our second round here, like I said, is going to be a little bit different here. I recommend having blocks towards the sides of your mat if you need them. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step or jump, Chaturanga. Inhale to your back bend of choice. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, come high on the balls of the feet, gaze forward. Exhale, step the right foot forward, coming into a low lunge. Grabbing your blocks if you need. Using the inner thigh here to press that knee outward towards the outer edge of the foot. Knee straight over the ankle here. And then on an inhale, lift the arms up for crescent lunge. Keep a bend in that back knee so that you're not overextending in the low back. Take an inhale to reach. Exhale, release the hands down to the blocks. Move the blocks aside, step back to down dog. Inhale, come high on the balls of the feet, gaze forward. Exhale, step the left foot forward. Finding your blocks, finding your lunge. Nice wide base here. Reach through that back heel. Double check the alignment of this knee. And on an inhale, crescent lunge. Reach up with the fingers. Maybe gaze up in between the hands. Take an inhale. Exhale, release the hands. Move the blocks aside. Step back to down dog. Always welcome to take a child's pose here as well. Inhale, come high on the balls of the feet, gaze forward. Exhale, step, walk, or jump to your forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, chest parallel to the mat. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep the arms up. And exhale to your mountain pose. So now that we're really warmed up, let's get into some of the little bit of deeper back bends. Okay. Have your blocks here if you need them. If you need a blanket for knee cushion, grab one of those as well. Come to stand in between the blocks. Inhale, exhale to fold. Inhale, soften the knees, gaze forward. Exhale, step the left foot back. Slowly lower down onto the left knee, untuck the toes. So here, sit as deep down into the hips as you can, opening up the front of the hip here, the hip flexors. Same alignment with this knee as we did in crescent lunge. And then on an inhale, lift the arms up for Anjaneyasana. Sit deep into the hips. Inhale, maybe chest up towards the sky, reach through the fingers. Exhale, return the hands to the blocks. Now we're going to come out of that hip stretch a little bit. Come more upright here. Maybe bring your hands to your thighs. Notice how my hips are not sunk deep like they were. More upright here. Now, bend the back leg. Reach back. If you can grab the foot. For modified King Charles pose, opening up the front of the leg here. Opening up the shoulders, try and center the chest towards the front. And then slowly release. Untuck the back toes. Come back to your lunge. And then step the front foot forward. Shaking out the legs a little bit. Inhale, soften the knees, gaze forward. Exhale, step the right leg back. Lower the right knee down. Find the correct alignment of this leg. Spin the right hip forward, left hip back. And on an inhale, lift the arms up for Anjaneyasana. Reach through those fingers, long upper arms. Take an inhale. Exhale, return the hands to the blocks. Now step the front foot forward. Coming out of that hip stretch just a little bit. Hands coming to the thigh. Bend the right knee. Reach back for the foot if you can grab it. If not, just reach those fingers back. Breathe through the stretch. Chest is spinning forward. Take an inhale. Exhale, release. Untuck those back toes. Move the blocks aside. Step back to down dog. Stretch out the backs of those legs. Especially if the hamstrings started to cramp a little bit in those last poses. From here, we're going to lift our right leg up into three-legged dog. Exhale, bend the knee. Bring the right knee behind the right wrist here. Untuck the back toes. Reach them back. So we're going to come into a pigeon pose here. Any props you'd like to use underneath the hips. See how I have a little space here. I want to make sure that I'm supporting the hips, that they're not just kind of floating there with a lot of gravity pressure on them. So prop how you like to. You can stay upright like this. You can come down onto your forearms or come all the way down, resting your head on the mat or on a block. So we're really focusing on opening up the hips here. I did mention them during my little anatomy lesson. Even though they really have nothing to do with back bends necessarily, they're very, very, very important because a lot of the back bends we do also include the low body. Mostly the hips, the thighs, hamstrings. Very important to include them. Bring the hands underneath the shoulders. Press back upright. Untuck the back toes. Lift the back leg. And slowly unwind, coming into down dog. Moving the props to the other side. Inhale, left leg up. Exhale, coming into pigeon on this side. Walking that left foot back. Getting as low down as you can. And then propping. Coming into any pose that feels best for you right now. And breathe. If you're upright on your forearms, try to keep the spine as straight as possible. Bring the hands underneath the shoulders. Slowly press up. Remove the block. And slowly press back up to down dog. Inhale, come high on the balls of the feet, gaze forward. Exhale, step the right foot forward. Staying in your lunge here. Grab onto your blocks. Bring both hands to the inside of the right foot, whether that's on the blocks, on the mat, however. The important thing here is to press this inner thigh into the arm. So we're not bringing our leg out to the side, we're pressing it in. And we'll come into a lizard pose here. So you can stay upright on your blocks here. Come down onto your forearms. You can come all the way down if you have that in your practice. You can also lower this back leg. So we'll stay here for a few breaths. You should be feeling this in the hips as well as the upper thigh, the outer thigh. I'm going to lift my leg up here. Keep the hands as relaxed as possible. And bring the hands back to the blocks. Slowly press up. Come back into your regular lunge. Step back to down dog. Pedal out the feet. Inhale, come high on the balls of the feet, gaze forward. Exhale, step the left foot forward. Bring both hands to the inside of that leg. Not bringing the leg out to the side, we're pressing it into the outer arm. And now come into whatever version of lizard pose you'd like to. You should be feeling it maybe on the outer hip here, definitely on the inner thigh. And then slowly press back up. Move the blocks aside. Stay in your lunge here. Bring the right hand closer to the right foot. Left hand on the hip. Take an inhale to lengthen the spine. And exhale, twist open. Maybe lifting this top arm. Press down with the bottom. Lift with the top. Take an inhale here. Exhale, release the hands. Step back to down dog. Inhale, come high on the balls of the feet, gaze forward. Exhale, step the right foot forward. Grab onto your blocks. Bring the left hand in closer to the right foot. Right hand to the outer hip. Take an inhale to lengthen. Exhale, twist. Twist coming from behind the heart and not just from the arm. Take an inhale to lift. Exhale, return the hands. Step back to down dog. And then slowly lower down onto your knees. Come down onto your bellies. This is where I would recommend, if you need a strap or have a strap, just have that handy just in case. Lengthen those legs out behind you. Hands coming underneath the forehead. Then the left leg. Prop yourself up on the right arm so that your chest is facing forward. Reach back. Grab the foot. Use a strap here if you'd like. Press down into the arm to lift the chest. Foot into the hand into the foot. For Ardha Dhanurasana or half wheel pose. Inhale. Exhale, slowly release. And switch arms. Left arm props up. Then the right knee. Reach back, grab the right foot. Press into the left arm. Lift the chest. Opening up the shoulders here, but try to keep them facing forward. Take an inhale. Exhale, release. Bring the hands underneath the shoulders. Rock the hips. So for our next round of poses, we'll go into full bow pose or full Dhanurasana. I'll give you the option of doing the half version. We'll do 2 rounds of it. You can do both sides, or you can go into the full version. And again, we'll do this twice. So, bend the knees, reach back, grab one foot, and then the other. Bring the knees in as close together as you can, pretty much parallel. And on an inhale, lift the chest. Press the feet into the hands into the feet. Maybe lift the thighs a little bit if you can. Breathe. Take an inhale. Exhale, slowly release. Windshield wiper the legs. And we'll go for another round. So, both knees bent. You prop yourself up to begin with. Grab one foot, then the other. And on an inhale, lift. Slide the shoulder blades down the back, bringing them closer together. Open up the front of the chest and the shoulders. Take an inhale. Exhale, release. And again, windshield wiper the legs. Okay. We're going to move forward with some fun versions of back bends that we've already done. For these, I recommend using blocks, but you definitely don't have to. You can just do the regular version. I think propped back bends are fun because you can really feel the bend in the upper back specifically, but you also feel nice and supported. Like you're not going to hurt yourself, you're not going to go anywhere. So we'll start off with low cobra on the blocks. So you bring the blocks down by the low ribs. Hands on the blocks. Same thing. Pin those elbows in. Slide the shoulder blades down. Inhale, lift up. So your hips, your belly are still on the mat. Maybe you come a little higher here than your normal low cobra. Take an inhale. Exhale, release. Now with the blocks, slide those forearms forward. Bring the elbows pretty much underneath the shoulders and shoulder width apart. And now press into the blocks with the forearms to come into a Sphinx pose. So here, press into the tops of the hips and the tops of the thighs. Lift the low belly off the mat, really tightening that belly up towards the spine. Slide the shoulder blades down. Take an inhale here. Exhale, release. Move the blocks aside. Now just a little message here. We're going to be coming into some of our bigger back bends, some of our deeper back bends. If you're not as familiar with these or not as comfortable with them, please back off, listen to your body. You can also go into a child's pose whenever you'd like, take a down dog. But I think these propped versions of the pose make them a lot more accessible, especially to those of us who aren't as flexible, aren't as bendy. So, with that said, we're actually going to stand up now. Have a strap available if you'd like it. We're going to be working in a King Dancer pose. If you're familiar with Little Dancer, you can just go into Little Dancer. That's a really nice opener for the front of the hip here. Or we'll be taking it a little bit deeper into the back bend. If you're very comfortable grabbing your foot and doing it that way, that's an option. I like the strap because it kind of helps to feel like you're getting closer to the full pose without killing yourself, hurting yourself, trying to reach both hands back to grab the foot. So we'll start on the right side to begin with here. I'll show you the strapped version on this side and the unstrapped version on the other. So bend the right knee, bring the knees pretty much parallel to begin with. Bring the strap over the right shoulder here. So already you're starting to move into a dancer pose. So if you want to stay here with your pose, go for it. Just make sure you're actively bringing that foot up towards the buttocks. Or reach back with both hands. Start to bend the leg a little bit deeper. Move this hip back, tip forward a little bit more. Maybe move the hands back on the strap, coming into a King Dancer pose. Chest is towards the front, opening up the armpits here, a slight bend in the standing leg. Take an inhale and exhale, slowly release. We shake out the legs. I'll show you the unpropped version now. So we'll bend our left leg, maybe grab onto the foot if you can, and you can stay here in Little Dancer. Just make sure those knees are parallel. You can lift the opposite arm. Or again, start to tip forward, pressing the foot into the hand into the foot. Steady gaze forward. Take an inhale. Exhale slowly. Release. Shake out the legs a little bit. And we'll come back down onto our mats now. So, following with our King back bend poses, we'll be doing a little bit with King pigeon pose now. So, a couple options. First of all, prop however you need to. This pose, if you've seen it on Instagram or Facebook, a lot of the times, it's unpropped. The hips are all the way down on the ground. It looks beautiful. But if you can't do that, don't do it. So even if you're trying to go into the full pose, use as many props as you need to. Again, I'll be demoing with the strap, which I feel is really, really helpful. So we'll start off in tabletop. I recommend having your blocks or blanket handy for underneath the hips. Bring the left foot or the left knee forward. Right foot walks all the way back. And here, grab your block. Place it under the hip if you need to. So you can stay upright here. This is a great hip opener. Or grab onto your strap. Should have looped the ball of my foot before. Now, similar to what we did in King Dancer, bend the knee, bring the strap over the shoulder. You can work here. You can bring your hand to the thigh, come up a little bit taller. Or walk your hands down the strap, maybe look up for King Pigeon pose. Take an inhale. Exhale, release. Set the block aside. Come back to your tabletop. So again, I'll demo this side using just my hand if you have a little bit more room. So, right knee forward. Left foot walking all the way back. Grabbing onto my block here to prop under my hip. So again, you can stay upright here, opening up the hips a little bit. You come up onto the thigh to sit upright. Or bend that right leg, grab onto the foot, stay here. Or lift the arm up for King Pigeon pose. Take an inhale. Exhale, slowly release. Remove the block. Come into a down dog. Again, maybe opening up the backs of the legs, especially if the hamstrings or the backs of the calves cramped on you. So, next, we'll be doing our two biggest back bends, the two most fun back bends. So again, for the next couple of poses, I recommend using any props you'd like to, any modifications you'd like to. Again, you can always stay in down dog. When we do our upward facing bow pose, you can always do the floor bow pose if you're more comfortable with that. Just listen to your body. This is a very fragile and sensitive part of the body, and this practice helps us strengthen and flex and make it more flexible, but it also helps us become aware of how sensitive it can actually be. So for our next pose, we're going to go into Wild Thing or Rock Star. I think one of the prettiest, most fun poses to do, and it's a nice introduction to a bigger back bend without the intensity of it. But your body is doing a lot of different things, so that's why it's so fun. So we'll start off in down dog here. We're going to keep the left foot where it is. Bring more weight the right foot where it is. Bring more weight into the right hand. Bring the hand a little bit more center. Gives you a little bit more stability. Start to roll over onto the outer edge of that right foot. Bring the left foot behind. Get light in the left hand. Reach it up. Or reach it behind you. Maybe come onto the ball of the left foot. Lift the hips higher. Take an inhale. Exhale, slowly bring that hand down. Bring the foot back. Come back up into down dog. Lengthen out the spine a little bit. This time we'll leave the left foot where it is. Bring most of the weight into the left hand. Bring it more towards center. Roll onto the outer edge. Bring the right foot behind. Become light in the right hand. Lift the right hand up. Maybe bring it overhead. Press into the feet, lift the hips. Take an inhale. Exhale. Slowly unwind. Come back into a down dog. Slowly lower down onto the knees. Grab onto the blocks. We're going to sit in Virasana for just a few breaths. You probably really want to go into child's pose right now. I don't recommend that since child's pose is a forward bend. So it's kind of going to shock your back. We've been doing all of these really deep back bends, and going into a forward fold, not always the best idea. So sit here, spine just nice and straight. Breathe. Next, we'll be going into our deepest back bend. Again, always do the floor version if you feel more comfortable with that. Or just stay in down dog. You can also sit in Virasana here. This is a nice opener in the front of the thighs. Okay, so let's go for it. Getting a little warm here. Okay, go slowly into this pose, as slow as you need to. Remember to breathe. That is the number one thing. Don't hold your breath. So we're going to come down onto our backs here. Coming into constructive rest. Almost as if we were going into bridge pose with our legs. So our legs nice and close to our tailbone here. Okay. Arms up overhead. Bend the wrists as if you were going to, stand on the ceiling with your wrists. And then bring them fingers facing towards your shoulders next to the ears. So pin the elbows in. Don't let them come out to the side here. Pin them in as much as you can. And you can just stay here. If you need work on your wrist flexibility, you can totally stay here. Breathe into the wrists. Work on this. Or, on an inhale, slowly lift the hips, lift the spine, come into Urdhva Dhanurasana or wheel pose. Breathe. Take an inhale. Exhale, tuck the chin. Slowly come down. Let your spine elongate on the mat. Maybe windshield wiper the hips. Slowly roll over onto one side. So, that's it for back bends. Did an awesome job. Now you might be wondering, hey, if we can't go into child's pose, how do we warm down from these back bends? And the answer is twists. Twists are a really good way to also work on the strength and flexibility of the spine, but to also kind of, pun intended, unwind from the back bends. So relax the muscles a little bit. Okay. So, if you have your blocks, grab your blocks. Come back into your down dog and walk the feet forward. Grab onto one block with each hand and come into a wide-legged pose, feet parallel. Place one block behind each heel. Spin the right foot out 90 degrees, left foot in 45. Keeping this leg pretty much bent, but pretty much straight, but a little bit of a bend to it, so that we're not overextending in the knee. Hips facing slightly forward. Bring the arms out. On an inhale, reach forward, bringing the hand down to the block, down to your shin, down to the mat for a triangle pose. Reach the top arm, open up the chest. Pressing down with the bottom hand, lifting through the top. Maybe gazing up. Now, bring the top hand to the thigh. Spin the chest down. Lunge into that front leg. Come onto the ball of the back foot. So you're in a lunge now. Bring the hands to heart center, torso a little bit upright. Take an inhale for length. Exhale, twist, bringing the outer elbow to the outer edge of the thigh. Coming into prayer hands on this side, twisting open. And if you'd like to, open up the arms. Take an inhale here. Come back to prayer arms. Back to center. Bring the hands back to the mat. Straighten the leg. Hands to the hips. Slowly come up to stand. Turn the left leg out 90 degrees. Right leg in 45. Arms out. Chest starting to face forward. Inhale, reach forward. Reach. Coming into Trikonasana or triangle pose. Again, the twist is coming from behind the heart and not just the arm coming back in space. Now slowly, spin the chest down. Lunge into the front leg, come onto the ball of the back. Upright the chest just a little bit, coming into prayer arms. Take an inhale for length. Exhale, twist, using your hand to kind of guide yourself. Staying in prayer arms here. We're opening up. Take an inhale. Exhale, slowly unwind. Bring the hands back down. Hands to your hips, slowly come back up. Okay, we're going to be going into our biggest twist now. So, have a couple options. Bring the right leg out, left leg in. We'll come into our triangle pose. Now, if you'd like to, bring the block to the inner leg, the inner foot. Spin the top hand down. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twist. If you have room here, bring that block to the outside of the foot. Coming into revolve triangle. Take an inhale. Exhale, release. Bring the hands to the hips. Slowly come on up. Parallel the feet. Left leg out. Right leg in. Find your triangle pose. And either start off with the block, the inside of the foot, or outside. Bring this top arm down and across. Inhale for length. Exhale to twist open. Take an inhale. Exhale, slowly lower back down. Bring the hands to the mat. Maybe block in front of you if you need. Start to walk through center. Bring the feet parallel. Stay with a flat back here. Do not fold just yet. Bring the left hand down center, right underneath the face, on a block if you need to. Right hand to the right hip. Take an inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twist. Maybe lifting the arm. Inhale. Exhale, slowly switch hands. Right hand underneath the face. Left hand to the thigh. Take an inhale. Exhale, twist. Inhale, reach. Exhale, slowly release. Slight bend to the knees. Bring the hands to the hips. and come all the way up to stand. Separate hop, feet in together, and come on down to sit. Sitting on a blanket if you like a little bit of height underneath the hips. So it's like a little puzzle here. Bring both feet out in front of you. Bend the right knee. Take the left leg, loop it underneath the right leg, bringing the foot to the outer hip here. Stay here if you'd like, or bring the right leg over the left. Take an inhale here. Exhale, twist towards the right. A little more of a twist here. Take an inhale up. Exhale, release the arms. Slowly unwind the legs. This time bending the left leg. Loop the right leg underneath. And then bring the left leg over. Inhale, lift. Exhale to twist. Take an inhale to slowly unwind. Unwind the legs. And bring them out in front of you. Grabbing a strap here if you like to use them for your forward folds. Now, we're not going to be rounding our spine in this Paschimottanasana. We're going to be keeping our spine nice and long. So we'll be folding from the hips, but not rounding in the spine. So if you like to use your strap, grab your strap. Take an inhale to lift. Exhale, start to fold. And if you can grab your feet here, you can grab your shins if you're not using your strap. And again, stay nice and long. Don't round over the legs. It's okay if you don't get as far as you're used to in this pose. And then on an inhale, slowly come back up. Remove the strap. Set that aside. And come down onto your backs in constructive rest. Inhale, press down into the feet. Lift the hips up and over to the left. Bring the knees in towards the chest and down to the right. Arms can be out towards the side, in cactus or goalpost, whatever feels best. Let the spine unwind in this very gentle twist. Letting gravity do most of the work. Not a lot of muscular action here. On an inhale, slowly bring the knees in towards center. Feet back to the mat to center the hips. And then press down, lift the hips up and over to the right, knees in towards the chest and down to the left. Inhale, knees back in towards the chest, feet back to the mat to center the hips. If you have a strap, grab onto your strap. Bend the right knee in towards the chest, and either hold on to the back of the thigh or loop the ball of the foot, reaching it up towards the ceiling here for a nice stretch in the back of the leg. And you can lengthen out the left leg if you'd like to. Keeping the knee as bent as you need. This also helps to release the low back a little bit. Flex the feet. Take an inhale. Exhale, just move that foot through the midline over towards the left just a little bit. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, bend the knee, release the strap, and switch feet. Inhale the left foot up towards the ceiling. And if the right knee is still bent, make sure that right knee is still pointing up towards the ceiling. Take an inhale. Exhale, foot through the midline over to the right, just a little bit. Inhale, back towards center. Exhale, release. Inhale, bring the knees in towards the chest. Give yourself a little rock side to side. And then slowly release. Coming into your Shavasana. Staying here as long as you'd like to. Relax the muscles of the face and the jaw, the fingers and the toes. Feel free to stay in your Shavasana as long as you'd like to, or start to deepen the breathing. Awaken the body by making small movements. Bring one arm overhead, slowly turn onto one side using the arm as a pillow, and bring some nice deep breaths into the back body. And then slowly press up, coming into any comfortable seated position. Hands to heart center. Thank you for sharing your practice with me today.